After you buy a home, it's very likely that your mortgage payment is going to go up over the next few years. And in this video, I'm going to explain why that happens and what you can do about it. So a friend of mine texted me recently and said, in 2021, my mortgage payment was $1,674. Then in 2022, it went up to $1,775. Then in 2023, it went up to $1,796, and now it's $1,881 in 2024. Insurance and taxes keep going up, and having an escrow shortage, have you seen people having that issue recently? It made me realize a lot of people aren't aware of how mortgage payments work. And you often think that when you buy a home, your lender is going to show you, here's what your monthly payment is going to be, and people think that's what it's going to be for the rest of the life of their loan. And I'm going to show you why that's actually not entirely true. Your mortgage payment is made up of several different payments that can change over time. Okay, so you have some payments that are fixed and some that are escrowed. So first, let's talk about what goes into a mortgage payment. Now, keep in mind, your mortgage payment isn't something that just goes straight to your lender. It's not just money that your lender's just pocketing. It's made up of several different things. So one of those things is the principal. So principal is you paying back your loan. If you get a loan for $300,000, principal is you paying down that $300,000 loan balance. Similar to if you had a $1,000 credit card balance, you're paying down that credit card balance. That's the principal of the loan. Interest is the cost of borrowing that loan. So if you have a 7% interest rate on the $300,000, you're paying 7% per year on the outstanding loan balance. So that's the cost to be able to get that loan. Then also there's property taxes. Your lender is not charging you property taxes. Your county is charging you property taxes. So every county has their own rules and assessments for how property taxes get handled. And so you're paying your county taxes. Now, taxes are normally paid semi-annually or annually in some instances. And so for a lot of people, that can be a big chunk of change that happens, maybe once a year, twice a year. And a lot of people can't afford to make those big payments all at once. And so that's where escrow kicks in, which I'll explain here in just a second. Then you also have homeowners insurance. Again, your lender's not charging you homeowners insurance. Your homeowners insurance is going to help you in case of there's a natural disaster or a fire, help you recover the value of your home there. So you're paying that. Homeowners insurance can be paid monthly. Often it's paid annually. Then there's also mortgage insurance. If you have less than 20% down, or you're getting something like an FHA loan, you'll have mortgage insurance. And so this is something that is paid to the lender. And what it does is it protects them in case you don't make your monthly payment. And then also, if you're in an area that has a homeowners association, that cost is going to be included as well, and something you need to be mindful about with your mortgage payment. So of things that are sent to the lender, you have principal, interest, and mortgage insurance. Now, what's really interesting are these two things here, which are property taxes and homeowners insurance. Again, since these are either semi-annual payments paid twice a year or maybe annual payments paid once a year, that can be a big chunk of change to pay all at once. And so what happens with most loans is the property taxes and insurance are escrowed. Basically what that means is your lender is going to take your property tax, for instance. They're going to look at what your annual property tax is going to be. They're going to divide that by 12 into monthly installments, and you'll pay them a monthly amount of property taxes. And what they'll do is they'll put it into a separate account called an escrow account. And so it's kind of like this little savings account that they set up for you. And what that does is over time, you keep contributing monthly into the escrow account. And then when that property tax bill comes due, instead of you having to pay thousands of dollars for the tax bill, that money's already been setting aside in that account because you've been contributing to it monthly. Okay. So for most people, they got a fixed rate home loan, and that means that their principal and interest never change over the entire life of the loan. So for a lot of people, they're going to have the exact same principal and interest payment for 30 years if they're getting a 30-year loan. However, what can change in this is your property taxes and homeowners insurance. It's very likely that your property taxes are going to increase over time and that your homeowners insurance is going to increase over time, mainly because as your home gains value, the county wants to tax you more on that value. And then also it costs more to be able to replace the value of your home, so your insurance can go up as well. Now, mortgage insurance doesn't increase, but it actually will decrease over time with most loans. And then homeowners association is really kind of the Wild West. It depends what happens with your homeowners association. They may increase. It's very unlikely that they would decrease that, but you'll have to check with your local homeowners association. So here are the things that make your payment go up. Like we talked about, one is property taxes here. So property taxes are based on the assessed value and will go up with the property value. So usually what happens is every few years, your county will assess the value of your home. And it's not an appraisal. Often an assessed value is going to be significantly less than your home is actually worth, which is what you want. You want your assessed value of your home to be low because that's what you're paying property taxes on. So as your property value goes up, the assessed value is going to go up and your property taxes are going to go up as well. So it's kind of this counterintuitive thing where we want our home to appreciate. We want it to go up in value, but something we have to keep in mind is when the home does go up in value, it's also likely we'll pay taxes because the home value is now higher. What can make your payment go up is underestimated taxes. And this often happens with things like new construction and tax reductions from a previous owner. So for instance, sometimes what can happen, not with all lenders, but with some lenders, is when you buy a home that's just newly been built, it doesn't have any record of tax history. And so that lender is going to try to use estimates to take a guess at what your property taxes are going to be to collect in an escrow account. So let's say over the next 6 months, 12 months, you've been paying this estimated amount into the escrow account, and then all of a sudden your bill comes due. It may be different in property tax than what the lender was able to estimate. And in some cases, I've seen lenders way underestimate and just use the land value instead of the property value. And then all of a sudden people can say, I didn't realize my property taxes were all of a sudden going to be this much more. So it's important to keep in mind if you're buying new construction, just double check with your lender to see where you're getting the estimates for property taxes for your home, that we have a good idea of what's going to happen. Again, because your lender doesn't control property taxes or homeowners insurance. They're just helping you set that money aside into a separate savings account if you're escrowing. Also, tax reductions from a previous owner. Around here, there's a homestead reduction for people above the age of 65. And so what can happen sometimes is if someone isn't aware of that, on the title side or a loan officer, what can end up happening is they'll use property tax estimates that the previous owner got, where they got a property tax reduction. And then so what they're telling you is that they're going to set aside a smaller amount in taxes. But then when the tax bill comes due and you don't get that incentive, like a homestead incentive, then you can have a higher tax bill coming up. So the best thing that you can do in these situations is talk to your loan officer, talk to your title agent as well, because they're going to be looking at the property tax and property tax history and just see, hey, are there anything that I need to be mindful about? Where are you getting this property tax estimate? Are there any reductions on there that I need to be aware of that I might not qualify for that could increase my tax bill? Now, something else that you can do that may not have the highest likelihood of working, but it's something that you could take a look at, is when you do have a new assessment on your home, especially if your home value goes up and your property tax bill goes up, you can challenge the property tax bill. You can challenge the assessed value of your home, and every county is going to be slightly different. You should find instructions online on the county website to see how you can do that. So that's an option, but not likely. I would just continue to expect property taxes are going to go up over time. Also, something that's going to increase is your homeowner's insurance. So again, as your home value increases, your property's replacement value is going to go up, because insurance, kind of the main goal of insurance is that if your home completely burnt down, you would be able to replace it. It's the replacement value of your home, meaning that this is how much it would cost to replace your home to its close to original state. Also, with the insurance company changes. So for instance, in Florida, there's been massive increases in homeowners insurance because you have insurance companies leaving, and then you also have high costs because of hurricanes, which makes it really difficult to get affordable homeowners insurance in Florida. So what you can do here is shop for homeowners insurance each year. Often with insurance, especially homeowners insurance, people just kind of forget about it because they pay it to the lender in an escrow account. And so they're not paying directly to a homeowners insurance company. It's paid through the lender. And so it's easy to kind of forget about homeowners insurance. But you want to shop for insurance each year just to make sure that you're getting the best quote possible. Also, homeowners association fees. Of course, if your HOA increases their cost, it's going to increase your monthly payment as well. And then also utilities potentially can increase over time. And often utilities are things that people overlook a lot. And it's really easy for somebody to buy a home that may be older, for instance, or isn't the most energy efficient and not realize how much their utilities cost. So some things to keep in mind. So when we're talking about the principal and interest payment, here's how it could and could not change. So principal and interest, again, this is principal, you paying back the loan. Interest is the cost of having the loan, expressed as an interest rate. So if you're getting a fixed rate mortgage, your payment is going to be the exact same until the end of your loan, until you completely pay it off. So if you get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is what most people get, if your principal and interest payment is $1,000 per month, it's going to be $1,000 per month in year 1 and $1,000 per month in year 25. If you get, on the other hand, an adjustable rate mortgage, that's something that can go up or down based on the market. Now, there are caps here, but for instance, you might get something like a 7/1 ARM. And what that means is set for the first 7 years, it's fixed, meaning the principal and interest payment can't change. And then after 7 years, it can change based on the market. So it can adjust every single year, which is what the one part of the 7/1 ARM means. Now, there are caps to it. Often what can happen is maybe every year the interest rate can change, but it can't increase more than 2%, for instance. However, it can go down. But something to keep in mind, if you get an ARM, principal and interest can change over the life of the loan. So then the question is, okay, well, if I wanted to buy a house because I thought the monthly payment would be fixed, so renting must be better. But renting, you're going to run into the same problems that you will with getting a mortgage. Because think about your landlord, for instance. Their homeowners insurance and property tax are going to increase as well. And they're not just going to absorb those costs. They're going to pass on those costs to a renter. And so from 2017 to 2022, there was an average nationwide year-over-year rent increase of just under 6%. And then even in 2021 to 2022, we saw an average nationwide year-over-year rent increase of 24.2%. So renting doesn't completely eliminate the cost of a home increasing. And I just wanted to show this to illustrate that no matter if you're renting or buying a home and getting a mortgage, there is potential, and it's very likely that your mortgage payment is going to increase over time. Now, if you want to compare the numbers of buying versus renting, I have a loan comparison calculator that does this. The link's in the description. You can also go to winthehouseyoulove.com/advisor. And what this will do is you can input a loan and then select how long you estimate you're going to be in the home. You can put in a couple different numbers here or just use the averages, and it will begin to show you the cost of a loan versus the cost of renting. So in this situation, if this person was looking at a 10-year period of time, if they sold the home after 10 years, they'd be looking at a net cost of $57,000 versus if they had a comparable rental payment, they would be spending about $361,000 over that 10-year period of time. So it's a good way to help look at the actual math between buying and renting to see which one's better, even when they both have increasing rental payments. And then I even factored in things like tax increases per year, insurance increases per year as well to account for the increase in monthly payment that you might be able to see. So if you're interested in that, you can use the code Kyle for 20% off of that calculator. Okay, so what should you do? First of all, what I want you to keep in mind is I don't want you to max out your housing payment. When you get approved for a loan, often you're going to get approved for more than is probably good for your budget. So please keep in mind your budget. Keep in mind things like how quickly you want to pay back debt, how quickly you want to increase your savings or your retirement account. Are you saving for college or maybe a child's college or vacations? Make sure that your mortgage payment doesn't ruin the rest of your lifestyle just to be able to get a house, especially because your payment is likely going to increase over time. Okay, you are the one who decides your budget, not a lender, not a real estate agent, no one else. You're the one who gets to decide what's comfortable for you and staying within that boundary. Also, I would highly suggest choosing a fixed rate mortgage. Unless you have a lot of cash, high income, and are willing to take on a lot of risk, that's the only instance in which an ARM might be interesting in some situations. I always like to explain, I wouldn't get an ARM unless you have a boatload of cash. And so if to you think you have a boatload of cash, then great, an ARM might be an option. Otherwise, I'd strongly suggest a fixed rate mortgage. Is just going to be the easiest and most predictable one to handle. Also, don't count on rates to decrease. Plan for your payment to never get lower. Even if we think that mortgage rates are going to decrease in the future and you could potentially refinance into a lower rate to get a lower payment, absolutely plan that that's never going to be the case, because you don't want to plan your budget around something that might happen in the future. Only plan your budget and your finances around what is currently in front of you. Also, have a 3-month emergency fund before you buy. That means look at your living expenses. If it costs you $3,000 per month to pay for groceries and gas and insurance and your mortgage payment, you need to have 3 months of that set aside after you buy a home. So that would be 3,000 times 3 would be $9,000 remaining. That way you have a nice cushion in case things increase. Also, be careful buying if you expect any income decrease in the future. So if you're planning on changing jobs to something that might be lower paying, or maybe you have a spouse that's taking off work due to maybe you're having a child, or there's potential sickness. Also, be careful counting on roommates. If you're going to buy a home and take on a high mortgage payment, but you're like, I'm going to have roommates that are going to help offset that, just keep in mind that you don't know that you'll always be able to have a roommate. Someone may move out and it may be difficult to get somebody to come in. So don't just rely on other people helping you out there. Really try to stay safe with your mortgage payment and your budget. And then especially for your first home, keep it well within your budget. You do not need your dream home as the starter home. I know a lot of people, they can get carried away pretty quickly and want to add on a bunch of extra things. And what ends up happening is it becomes, well, an extra $100 a month isn't that bad, and another extra 100, and all of a sudden you might be quite a bit more out of your price range than you initially expected. So if you are ready to take the next step, our team works in all 50 states. So you can get pre-qualified at winthehouseyoulove.com/lender. And so what you'll do is schedule a time that works for you and talk with a mortgage advisor on our team. And we can help you figure out the best loan for you, get you a pre-qualification letter so you can start shopping for homes. And then also, if you'd like to work with a realtor, we have a fantastic real estate referral network all throughout the nation. And what a realtor will do is help you find the home that you love and negotiate the best offer. And you can get started at winthehouseyoulove.com/agent.